With the ever-growing concerns of game companies removing ROMs from ROM websites, I got to thinking, what could I do to ensure that I never have to deal with the catastrophic issue of not being able to download a copy of Looney Tunes Back in Action on the Nintendo GameCube? I could not exist in a world where I couldn't do my yearly 100% all monkeys captured playthrough. Then, it struck me. I work in tech. I know how to do stuff with computers. I can surely figure out a method to store my ROM files and ensure I can reach them even when I'm not home. So, with Chungus in hand, I got to work on the solution that would ensure those greedy companies never got the best of me. First, I bust out the crayons and do some initial critical planning of what I will need to ensure I can properly store my ROM files. The first thing is definitely storage, which I have in the form of two 6TB hard drives from 1975. The next thing would be a compute machine. In this case, I will be using this old Dell Precision 5810 with a 4-core Xeon chip and 32GB of RAM, which is more than enough for my needs. With those things in hand, I now have somewhat of a picture in my brain of what the setup will look like, so I go ahead and connect the 6TB hard drives to the computer. I also connect a 250GB SSD that will house the OS and fit it snugly inside what was once the optical drive bay. And yes, I am leaving it hanging because I'm kinda quirky like that. Before I boot up the system, I ensure I plug in my flash drive with the Debian Linux OS installation, my OS of choice for this project. Once the system is powered on, I set my 6TB hard drives to mirror each other in a RAID 1 configuration from within the SATA controller settings. The reason for mirroring the drives is for a layer of redundancy because I'm not gonna lie, these drives are older than my grandma, so if one fails, I want to have the other one take over. The next thing that comes up is the Debian installation, which is pretty self-explanatory and runs me through the installation of the OS. Once we're finally in Debian, I initialize the 6TB RAID volume and create my ROMs folder along with any subfolders separated by console. I then transfer all my ROMs and place them in the folders they need to be in. After all that, I download and set up ROM-M, the ROM manager application that I will be using to organize and sort my ROMs. The cool thing about ROM-M is that it offers a nice web GUI I can connect to from other client devices like my home PC or phone. It also uses API keys to connect to an online database that will automatically download any game display cases and metadata. If you're interested in downloading and setting this up for yourself, I will leave a link in the description to the GitHub site that has a guide. It involves using Docker Compose and some familiarity with containers, but it is worth it. Since this isn't really a ROM tutorial, I won't be walking through that part, but let me know if you would want me to make a video on that in the comments. Anyways, once ROM is set up and I can see all my ROMs from another device within my network, it was time to set up access to them from anywhere. For this, I will be using Tailscale. Tailscale is a service that will let me create my own personal VPN that I can use to access my internal services from anywhere. In layman's terms, I will be tricking my devices into thinking they're on the same LAN even though they're not. I easily get started with a spare Gmail account and run through their how-to guide. Again, since this isn't a Tailscale tutorial, I will leave a link in the description to the guide I'm using. Once that's complete and my desired computers are connected within my Tailscale network, I decide to go outside and test how good the connectivity and download speeds were. Alright, so I'm currently outside testing my download speed on my Android. It's not the best download speed, but now I'm gonna connect to the computer where my emulators are at. Just gotta put my, and we're gonna, it's not showing me the platform for some reason. That's not good. Okay, there we go. We probably could go somewhere better where there's a little bit better signal, but that's okay. As long as we can reach it and download all of them, or download all the ones that we need. We should be fine. Where the fuck? Oh, there it is. So let's go ahead and download that. That's fine. And there it is. It is currently downloading. That's not bad when I'm actually downloading something, but there it is. It's not bad at all, actually. Okay, so finally downloaded. I'm gonna pull up my Dolphin emulator. Let's try to find the file. And there it is. I mean, you guys get the gist though. There's no... Running on my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, I believe it is. And I downloaded it from my computer back at home. Overall, though it may seem complicated, I think the setup I have for my ROMs is worth it to ensure that I always have them and have access to them. Though these companies are within their rights to request the removal of their IP, it's never fun when you have to scour through sketchy forums to possibly get a chance of finding a legitimate link to your favorite childhood game. But let me know what you think of this setup, as well as how you're storing your ROMs. Do you think this is overkill, or do you think this is necessary given the current state of things? Anyways, this has been fun. My name is Dennis, and I will see you all in the next video.